says start. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cold Reads, episode 14. Can you believe it? I am Laura Nicole. This show is presented by Resonant Audiobook Solutions, and I have a full cast today. I'm super excited, guys. We are going to be doing part 1 of chapter 11 today. Everyone has just gotten their scripts. So first, let's go ahead and introduce my lovely cast. We will start with the person who is muted right now. So unmute yourself, Miss Emilie, and we'll go down the line. So, Emilie, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Emilie Gillick, and I am a co-founder of Circus-13 Productions. We do our mostly original audio productions, but some fan fiction. Yeah. And I also am producer of Bearwolf Studios and supportive wife of my husband who does like everything, comic books, photography, movies, everything.
And that would be Jester, who was on a few episodes ago. If you haven't watched it, you should go and watch because he's amazing. Next down the line, we have a returning guest, Janra Roberts. Say hi.
Hey.
And tell people what you do.
I am programming director and operations director at Valley Free Radio, and I run two shows on there and produce podcasts for 4 shows. And I also do virtual assisting,
which is awesome.
Yay!
And next down the line, we have Paul Ellis.
Hi, everybody.
And tell everybody what you do.
Well, I'm a writer, podcaster by night, and that's when I've got my cape and tights on. During the day, I'm an operations programmer for the United Network for Organ Sharing here in Richmond.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much. And last but not least, my beloved Veronica Giguere.
Hi. I'm Veronica Giguere. I am a voice artist and audiobook narrator. I am the producer and voice and one of 4 writers for the Secret World Chronicle podcast novel series, written by Mercedes Lackey, Dennis Lee, Cody Martin, and me. I help people tell stories. I do it full time. It's awesome.
That is the best description of being a voice actor that I have ever heard, and I hope you tagline it on your website if you haven't already.
It does. On Facebook, it says storyteller, and then all the different things. But yes,
but on your website, you should have V for voice. I help people tell stories. So anyway, so everybody, this is a really big cast. I'm looking forward to having you all speak. So we're going to have a little bit of gender bending this time, which is fine. We do it all the time. So in the script, we are going to have Emilie read the lines for Etik, the eternal youth and barkeep of the Bard's Rest, which is the tavern where this chapter takes place. You are also going to do a one-line for Shara, who is one of the serving girls at the tavern. Veronica, you are going to play the part of Eric Moonrunner, who is best friend to Turek and Beatrix Stonebriar, and maybe a little bit more with Beatrix. He is an elf. He is very smooth. He has a bit of a reputation as a ladies' man.
So totally typecasting. Awesome.
Totally typecasting. You know, everybody's been waiting for this. So ever since, dude, we were in a show together called Hidden Harbor Mysteries, where I was Veronica's sidekick. I've read some stories that came out of that, which make me blush, and that's not hard.
Wow.
So playing the part of Turek is going to be Paul. Now, Paul Turek is a goblin. He has grown up in the Elder Woods where they speak kind of an old English, but he has been obsessed of late with police procedurals that have a lot of initials in their titles. So he tries really hard to bring in some of those phrases. So you only have 2 lines for him, but he's interesting. If you like him, you should totally come back and play him again. And he's in green. Eric is in light blue. And then I cannot name this character yet in case people are following along with the story. But Janra, you are playing the character that is listed in yellow. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that he's about 19 years old. He is very familiar with how law enforcement works. And he has a person that he would die for and that he's trying to protect. Does that all sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. So this is the longest intro that we've had, but we've split this chapter in half for a reason. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share the script to my audience. And here we go with chapter 11. We went back down to the bar, and did the bit I hated. We waited. There were several reasons why I went into forensics rather than into actual law enforcement. It is very difficult for non-magics to take you seriously when you are many times smaller than them. In addition to that, I hated stakeouts. The endless watching and waiting was enough to drive me to drink. With the lab, I could have several machines running different analysis programs at a time, while I work on entering reports on other bits of evidence and how it melded together. In the patients department, I had to give the detectives their due. It was no wonder that from time to time they would have little spats with their suspects during questioning. So we sat there and we waited. We started with some drinks, just a couple so as not to look suspicious. Eric was a master of making fake conversation, and Turek was quickly remembering how to follow his lead. As for me, I was scanning the room, sipping slowly on my punch. I could not exactly place it, but I had the distinct feeling that someone was watching us as well. I looked at my drink. It wasn't quite empty, but it was far from full. Rather than wait for Shara to come over, I took my mug over to the bar, giving myself an excuse to browse the room.
What can I get you, my lovely Faye?
Eddick
Can
asked.
Can I interest you in an ounce of my homebrew?
What have you been brewing this time? I asked, both in curiosity and to make natural conversation. The barkeep leaned his arm on the bar.
Ah, it is a family secret, but come close and I'll let you in on it.
He lowered his head, and I took a couple of steps forward.
I use being watched.
So, he had noticed. Really? I started loudly before leading in. Where?
Oh, now you know I can't tell you that, you cheeky miniature she-devil. But I can give you a sample. Come with me down to the cellar for a moment.
I followed him just inside of the cellar door. I looked around as we descended into the lower level of the bar and caught a glimpse of the deep blue hood, craning around to see where we were heading.
Did you see him?
The barkeep whispered as we went further into the cellar. I saw his hood. Thank you for that. I flew just behind him as he took up a lantern to light our way. Where are we going?
I don't make idle promises, Trixie. I promised to show you my latest brew. Now, show you what I shall. It wouldn't do to come talking mismatchedly about what we had seen down here.
He took me to the area where the smell was not the best, but such was the burden of a brewer of fine things. His scotches were on one side of the hall, where the wooden racks had the prime year burned into it. On the other side of the wall, wine fermented with much shorter prime dates. Behind the giant barrels were rows upon rows of bottles, corked or capped, and ready to be sent off with whichever traveler would purchase them. Finally, we reached the active batching room. In one large barrel, grapes were being stomped in as in days of yore, with young satyrs dancing to a mix of rock and roll and woodland music. I recognized the band as the Man-Made Nymphs. On the other side, a mixture of ale, lovingly something. Tenderly measured, tasted, and mixed.
Wine is a game for children, and ale is a science for adults,
said the barkeep in a tone that slightly belied his age. He took a thimble of one of the many spigots labeled only with a date and the word sample above it. He let the red liquor pour into the glass first, letting the head die down. Then he gave the sample to me. I took the thimble in my hands and inhaled. There was the light smell of grain and hops and something seasonal. Nutmeg? I asked. Attic had a fiendish grin on his face and shook his head. I gave the ale to my palate for analysis. I closed my eyes as the flavors greeted my senses. When I opened my eyes, I smiled at him. Cloves.
Exactly!
He clapped his hands together with glee.
Ah, Trixie, my dear, you're a fae after old Etheric's heart.
He let his hand lead.
This one is on the house since you were the first to try it.
He lowered his voice.
So tell me, is it good?
I would only suggest it in the evening. It has a warm aftertaste that makes it feel like I've had a large feast. It could be the drink you sent them home with, so that they will be left with a good impression. I believed it too. This was a drink you settled in with at the end of the night. It wouldn't taste sour when it was warm either.
A gem you are, my girl. Thank you for that bit of advice. I will keep an eye on that shady character for you. Just say the word and he's out of the bar.
Oh, that won't be necessary, Edic. I've got a suspicion he might be someone I need to talk to. I'll keep an eye on him, too. I rejoined my party at the table.
Should I be worried about Edic too?
Eric smiled as I sat down with my thimble. I probably wasn't going to finish it, but it was very tasty. He appreciates people who have highly refined tastes, and I've never found an equal to his mastery out in the human realm.
Is that a new concoction?
Turek asked, looking at my thimble. I caught his eye before I spoke next. He's calling it Blue Hood for now. I'm not entirely sure it fits the texture, but I'm letting it follow me around for now. I might talk to him later about it if I can come up with something else. The goblin pursed his lips to the side, indicating that he was concentrating. It was an odd expression, but one that I knew well from when he was determining what creature we tracked.
Blue Hood. Something isn't right. It doesn't fit the smell.
Nodding, I took a sip of the amber brew. Eric, who seemed like he was following the conversation, called over to the server.
Shara.
She came over to him and flashed a perfect elven smile. I suddenly became conscious of my own slightly crooked teeth.
Can I buy that young man in the blue hood a drink?
Only if it isn't alcohol. He's not old enough for that yet.
Send him lavender tea, then.
Eric smiled, placing a gold coin in her palm. The server left with a cool smile. We all waited while Eric watched Shara proceed with her task. Once the tea was brewed, he nodded to me. I glanced around just in time to see her deliver the tea. She indicated who had sent it. The figure trembled under our gaze. He bolted, as I'd expected. Turek had too. He leapt onto the table, then down to the floor, rushing the kid, and he lost his footing. The bar cheered at the brief entertainment. While Eric took the boy by the shoulder, and I followed behind. Edic, ever watchful, opened up a back room for us. As we walked, I noticed the crowd start cheering again. Turek was taking his knives and flipping them with eccentric showmanship and following each trick with a bow. "Come on, show off," I called. He took one final bow and followed us into the side room. The room wasn't dark, but it wasn't bright either. Carefully placed candles would have given the room a romantic feel if it were any other situation. Eric sat the boy on the bench roughly. He made to pull his hood off, but I stopped him with a hand signal. I landed on the table in front of the boy. My glow and the candlelight barely lit the contours of his face. Stubble littered his chin. His freckled face was going back and forth between worry and defiance. "You shouldn't run from people who buy you a drink," I said with soft authority. "It makes you look suspicious."
I don't have anything to say to you. I didn't do anything,
said the boy. "No, but you were watching us. Well, me in particular. You're not very good at concealing it either." I sat down on the edge of the table. "Now, we can either force you to show your identity, or you can just tell us."
You have to promise not to hurt Elena.
The plot thickens. The boy was sweet on the elf girl. Interesting. "I promise that none of us will hurt her as long as she does not attack us. But she's done something horrible and she will need to be brought in for questioning, if not conviction." He didn't seem shocked by this news. "And you helped her, didn't you?" The youth pulled back his hood of his own accord. Tears threatened to fall down his face. His dirty blonde hair and strong nose, paired with a voice remarkably similar to that of my former coworker. I recognized him now. I didn't need him to say it.
We had to try to make it right. What my father did and what the others are doing to the magic's just...
He balled his fist in rage.
We're just trying to make the world better for both sides.
"Jack Haggerty, Jr., I said in my most authoritarian tone. It quelled the boy's rage, and he looked down at me with wide eyes. I shook my head and brought the volume back down to a civil level. My suspicions from my conversation with Nodris had been confirmed. "How do you expect to make the world better when it involves blood?" "Beatrix," I heard from the darkness. Nodris had found the girl. I looked to Eric. When I brought my moss agate from my pocket, he understood and went to go and find the elusive Alina.
Where are you going?
No, that's it. Oh, that is it. Sorry. My page was not fully showing that. Eric did not answer him, but closed the wooden door behind him.
Where is he going?
And that's the end of the episode. Sorry about that, guys. you, everybody. That was awesome.
Woo!
So, I think this is actually the rough draft of this chapter because there are a lot of mistakes that I know I fixed. So thank you all for rolling with it. What did you guys think of the experience?
Well, anytime I get the opportunity to do this type of stuff, I love it. So probably not the right person to be asking.
Yeah, kind of likewise. Like, oh, I get to play with people I like. This is awesome. And I get to meet new people. This is great. Yeah.
Now, so this is a cold read. So, you know, you all just got the script within minutes of me starting the show. So that kind of adds to the stress level. Now, Veronica, you do this a lot. So I feel like, do you have a technique that you use to try to not trip up over your words?
I inherently speed read. I can consume paragraphs in the time it takes most people to read sentences, and it's just an innate thing. Nobody wants to play Jeopardy with me because I buzz in before they finished reading. I finished the last Harry Potter book in 3 hours. It's
wow.
Jesus Christ.
Authors hate me. Scott Sigler actually cursed me at a panel because I had finished one of the GFL books on my ride to Dragon Con, and I was the only person in the room who had finished the book. He goes, "I hate you." I'm like, "I'm so sorry."
You're like, the Dark Overlord has hated me.
I know, but he loves my voice, and I have proof of that. So
that's dark wizardry.
It is. But there's that, and then the other thing is to slow down. If you think you're going too fast, you probably are. Mm-hmm. And to just kind of savor the words. And in this situation, I mean, to be fair, my character didn't have a lot of lines, so I could read ahead and see what the lines were and how to react. Mm-hmm. So in a case like this, you never go and only read your own lines. You're always going back and listening to everyone else's and seeing what's coming up.
Right, because that does play into how you voice your character, like the tone and the energy is definitely different. And that's a nice difference when you have a full cast that you can play off of each other, which is something that I really enjoy about doing like live rehearsals with audio drama groups. Emilie knows what I'm talking about a little bit because we've done some audio dramas. We never got to do live rehearsals, but I think that this is a fun exercise at the least to try and get people to play off of each other. Now, the only person who really isn't a voice actor per se in our little group is Janra. So Janra, hi.
Hi.
How are you feeling? Because you totally were right in there. Like, you're getting a thumbs up from Veronica because
really?
you had the energy, man.
That was awesome. I'm like, and the only person who isn't, I'm like, no, wait. No, that was badass, dude. Sorry, can I swear? It was badass.
You can swear.
Thank you.
Yes, you can swear on my podcast. It's okay. Yeah. I'm going to be reading Nobilis stuff earlier or later, so.
Well, shit, goddamn.
Yeah. I will make sure to put a disclaimer on that.
It's all my fault.
No, it's fine. It's just, you know, so far I've only cursed like 3 times in 15 episodes.
Oh.
Because I started with episode 0. I know you could. So, given that this is the first time for most of you, do you think you would come back?
Definitely.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, Veronica's coming back tomorrow. I'm super excited.
This is fun. I don't get to do this. Like the most I get to do voices is when I'm bullshitting with my friends. So this is fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. I really enjoy doing this kind of work. So tomorrow, I know we've got Veronica. We're gonna have August Grappin. I don't know who else we're gonna have, but we're gonna have people. Emilie, are you coming back tomorrow?
I'm available if you'd have me.
Come on back. Paul, you want to come back?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do
Sweet.
it.
Okay.
Love to do Turk again. Yeah.
Awesome, because Turk has more lines later.
I saw that. Yeah.
What about you, John? Are you free?
I have tomorrow. I have practice.
Ah, okay.
I have
I think I
singing
might be getting
practice.
Stacy, maybe.
Maybe.
But-
Ew.
Cool. So we have most of the same cast here. So before we get going, I would like to have everybody just go ahead and pimp whatever they're working on right now. Again, we'll start with Emilie.
I am trying to think of what we're working on. I think we have, gosh, I don't know what I can say. I know we have a couple big projects coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on more cosplay photography. And yeah, I think that's all I can say right now.
Where can people find any and all updates?
www.circus13productions.com. We're also on Facebook. Anything Circus-13, you can find our audio. You can find Werewolf Studios. All of our other like comics, photography are listed there as well.
Great. Janra.
Hey.
Where can we find you and what you do?
I produce 2 radio shows on WXOJLP. The first is Press Start to Continue, where I play video game music and nerdcore hip hop, and you can find that at starttocontinue.com, or my Twitter is @PressStartVFR. And I also produce the political show Civil Politics, which is every Friday at 7 on the same station, and that is civilpoliticsradio.com.
And if you live in the Pioneer Valley in Massachusetts, that is 103.3 FM. Just so y'all know.
Correct.
Paul.
Yes.
Where can where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at paulkellis.com or at wirelessadventures.com. I actually wound up taking a year off unexpectedly. And so I'm coming back. I have got a new project that should be out in December. Several years ago, I pitched a story for Pip and T from the Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences called Foothold. And the first draft came in at about 26,000 words, which is a little long for a tale of the archive. So I cut it down, and we produced that show. So I found the original draft. And it's not bad. It's going to take some polishing, but it's not bad. So that's what I hope to have out by December.
Awesome. And V.
You can find all my work at www.voicesbyveronica.com. Voices by Veronica over on Facebook. And currently, I've got 2 new releases out. One is the Arcane Thriller box set written by J.F. Penn. If you like Laura Croft meets Indiana Jones and a whirlwind tour of really cool historical sites, I encourage you to check it out. It's over 20 hours of audio for 1 Audible credit, so it's a great deal. And if you like space opera, I am the narrator for Terry Mixon's Empire of Bones saga. Book 6, Reconnaissance and Force, is out, and it is one of those rare, rare moments where I'm narrating a character named after me.
Well, if you stay long enough, you'll get to play another character named after you.
Dude. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so, and you can find me online at L Nicole Audio on Twitter. You can find all of the audiobook services that I provide, QC, editing. I am not taking any narration jobs at the moment. I'm currently tapped out on that mana, but you can find any and all of my services on resonantmoon.com. If you would like to be on Cold Reads as a voice, or if you would like to submit a short story no longer than 4 pages, you can go ahead and send me an email at Laura Nicole Audio at gmail.com. That is LauraNicole audio@gmail.com. If you would like spoilers for this story, Stonebriar Casefiles, it is on Amazon. I've provided a link in the show notes, so you should go and buy it and help fund me being an independent person. All of the links for my fabulous panel of voices are also going to be in the show notes as well. If you like what we're doing with Cold Reads, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. The other day you saw me do a happy dance because I had 10 subscribers. Let's make it 20 and I'll do it again. And just so y'all know, this work is covered under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. So you can share it, you can repost it, you can download it. Just don't change it because this is audio awesomeness. You don't really want to do that. And make sure that you link back to this YouTube page. Thanks again to my amazing cast. I will see most of you tomorrow. We'll be back here around 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central. And keep watching. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I love you guys. Bye.